Family, welcome back to the channel. We are back with another video. Unfortunately, the wifey's not here, but it's okay. We're gonna go ahead and check this video out. We got another video from Boracity magazine. I'm super excited to check this out. Real quick, the title is "The Truth Behind Crazy Fandoms, a BTS Video Essay." So I'm super excited to see this because we obviously know about the different fandoms that are out there for different idols and just how hectic it gets with the rivalries and, all the things that happen in between. I'm not really familiar with those battles yet, I guess, because I'm not that deep in it as of yet. But I'm curious to see, what this is all about. But before we get started with today's video, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Shout outs to every single one of you guys that are new. If you're coming back, we're going to start using trophies and purple hearts in the comments, in the chat room. Let's show some love. I would really appreciate it. Shout outs to the new soundboard as well. If you guys are noticing, there's a lot of new things going on. So little by little, we're upgrading the, just the recording and just everything's gonna be a lot better for you guys in the production sense. We got some good cinematic things. So if you guys enjoy them, make sure you guys hit that like button. Let's get into today's video.
The Beatles are considered one of the greatest bands of all the time. They had one of the biggest fan bases in the world, and their music was critically acclaimed. However, when they first debuted in 1960, the group was heavily looked down upon by music critics and the general public. So when did the Beatles start to be taken seriously and be remembered as music legends? A compilation of early reviews by Los Angeles Times shows that the Beatles started being cool when men decided they liked them. At the beginning,
when men
Angeles Times shows that the Beatles started being cool when men
interesting. So when the men decided that they were cool, they became okay, which is kind of interesting because that brings me to a moment that I remember that we've seen from Boracity magazine where BTS screamed out into the crowd, and obviously the women screamed really loud and they were excited. They were like, "Hey," And when they did the men and they screamed and they said, men make some noise type thing, the men made noise. So there we go. That's a little bit of some insight right there.
They liked them. At the beginning, many critics like to focus on the fact that the Beatles fanbase was made up of teenage girls and young women, and that was what made them a horrible band. The Science newsletter wrote, "The Beatles follow a line of glamorous figures who arouse passionate cries and deep swoons. Their glory will pass when they get too old to be teenagers' idols or when teenagers get too old to need them." The Boston Globe wrote, "Teenagers, go ahead and enjoy your Beatlemania. It won't be fatal and will give you a lot of laughs a few years hence when you find one of their old records or come across a picture of Ringo in a crew car."
Wow.
The Nation wrote, "The reaction at Carnegie Hall was not a real response to a real stimulus. The full house was made up largely of upper middle class young ladies, stylishly dressed, carefully made up, brought into town by private cars or suburban buses for their night to howl, to let go, scream, bump, twist, and clutch themselves ecstatically. And parents, be careful, because the longer parents object with such high dudgeon, the longer children will squeal so hysterically. The Beatles were considered a huge joke, a wacky gag, disorganized amateurs. They induced mental disturbance. Not even their mothers will claim that they sing well."
We thought the hate nowadays was crazy. Like this has been going on for years, as we see here. I mean, this was posted to a newspaper. Now obviously everything is different with technology, and we got apps, where people can voice, and big corporations can voice their opinions as well. So that hate, obviously it goes 30 times or even 1,000 times more nowadays because anybody can tweet that could be retweeted, or anybody can post a Instagram post and that can go viral. So there's different ways that not only bigger corporations like the newspapers from back in the days can say evil things like this, but now anybody in the world can say disrespectful things to these artists, and that's pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie. That's kind of That's kind of sad
Girls
if
thought
you
they
really
were
think
good
about
looking
that.
and well dressed, so visually they were a nightmare. Tight, dandified Edwardian beatnik suits and great pudding balls of hair. They sang about love, so musically they were a near disaster. Their lyrics were a catastrophe. The Beatles were not merely awful. It would be sacrilegious to say anything less than they are god awful. They are so unbelievably, horribly, so appallingly unmusical.
Oh my god. Unbelievably, horribly, so appallingly unmusical. Jesus. I feel like a lot of people that would probably go through this nowadays would not be able to be strong enough to continue on with their career in a light note, because seeing words like this can be very discouraging for someone that's not prepared to take this kind of comments or these kind of, you know, just, I guess, tweets, I guess you could say nowadays. But
But don't
you know, this reminds me a lot of everything she's talking about. Gives me that reminder of when Justin Bieber first came out, and how it was for teenagers, it was for teenage girls, it was for, you know, little kids, where when he came out with the song Baby and things like that, he was not looked at as, you know, a cool artist by a lot of people until, you know, people started giving him that chance. And if you actually listen to his new album in 2025, timestamp, just so you guys know, it is 11/7/2025. He has released a newer project, and that project is pretty fire. So, you know, if the men or the people that are older don't agree with that kind of music, then it seems like it kind of gets pushed off to the side, which is pretty interesting because it still happens nowadays. So I'm excited to see how this is gonna implement into what BTS has gone through. So let's
worry,
get back
don't
into
let the
it.
Beatles bother you. If you don't think about them, they will go away. And in a few more years, they will probably be bald. The odds are that they will fade away, as most adults confidently predict. Do these comments kind of sound familiar? What's that you say? You don't speak Korean? Well, rest assured, the little girls will understand.
Kids have been camped out in line for days.
How did this become a thing in Western?
First and foremost, I cannot stand H3H3. I'm not gonna lie to you. This guy, this guy right here.
Understand.
Kids have been camped out in line for days.
How did this become a thing in Western culture, where all these grown men and little girls are off to little K-pop?
Even his wife is like, what? Like, I don't know, man. Sometimes, you know, the old me would take this the wrong way and try to, you know, take it there, you know, in a battle lead type of way. But you know, nowadays it's kind of different. I like to take different approaches when people come up and say these kind of things, because even now, you know, someone that, let's say, is into this kind of genre, they're gonna get this kind of response, or kind of like, what? Like, you listen to that? Why? You know, type thing. But it's kind of like, if you give it a chance, you will understand what it's all about, because we're getting different types of music, and someone from this lucky seven that we have, I like to say that, right, is gonna touch you, and you're gonna be able to understand the music. You know what I'm saying? But you know, this is the era where I think a lot of people were closed-minded and were not understanding of the different types of culture, and it's okay to listen to different types of music. You don't have to insult people. You don't have to come after anybody and be disrespectful, because you know that doesn't really translate well for a lot of people. It's kind of messed up.
Boys.
It actually marks the first time 15-year-old girls everywhere found themselves wishing that they were Secretary General Antonio Gutierrez.
We were going to send the band outside to the audience, but the police and the fire department and our lawyers said at least 100 people would be killed if we did that. So
I don't even know what to call them, boys or girls, because I don't know what they are. Look at these people. Look at this one. Look at those highlights. Those chunky Tony and Guy mall salon highlights.
I don't know. I think they look very nice.
Oh! That is not what you were saying during...
Dang. And I remember these clips from XLS. Shout outs to XLS. But I remember these clips when we saw her video. And yeah, man, this all has to do with everybody being so close minded here, and just the way that America thinks that this is the end all be all for entertainment kind of is mind boggling to me, because they're quick to go disrespect something. They're quick to go and try to tear down things that people are trying to build. But when it comes to, let's say that backlash, then they want to be like, oh, I didn't mean that. It's like, bro, we've seen this over and over again. It's crazy.
I can't get behind it.
So a little spoiler about the Beatles' popularity. They never faded away.
Never.
And they went from a silly boy band teenage girls like to rock legends. But it was only after women already pushed the Beatles to the top when men claimed credit for the group's discovery.
Crazy. Wow. Think of that analogy too. So it's technically an army, a fandom, if you want to call it, that supported the Beatles that much that eventually, once they continue to rise and continue to make history and continue to, be in the radio and all of this because of the request, now the men want to come and step in and give them a try. They like their music, and now it's like, oh, that's amazing. We discovered them. That's crazy. That's messed up.
From their EP, Map of the Soul Persona. Ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, look at that cover. It's a little bit of some similarities if you really think about like some of the covers that we've seen for BTS. Not obviously similar, but just the way the pinstripes and everything. I love it.
BTS.
The God.
My bad. That was BTS. I thought why it's black and white. I thought it was the Beatles.
Already pushed the Beatles to the top when men claimed credit for the group's discovery.
From their EP, Map of the Soul Persona. Ladies and gentlemen, BTS.
The Guardian published a story in 2018 about mentrification, which derives from the word gentrification. While gentrification describes the process by which one
Oh, yeah.
improves a place so it conforms to middle-class taste, mentrification achieves an equal status transformation by taking the history of female participation and achievement and festooning its narrative with fallacies. In other words, things girls and women like are irrelevant and stupid, until the moment men decide they are not stupid anymore. This is why it can be so infuriating for ARMY's, BTS's fandom, every time the media describes BTS as a silly boy band for 15-year-old girls. BTS is, along with Bad Bunny, Taylor Swift, and Drake, the biggest artists in the world.
And that is true. That is true, because the numbers do not lie. I swear to you. I'm adding to the numbers too. I'm not going to lie, because I listen to a lot of BTS right now. And I listen to their solo projects as well as I'm working and stuff. And their numbers are very high. They're really up there. I would take Drake out though, because it's over for him. I'm just kidding.
But while these artists get recognized for their amazing discography and talent, BTS is mainly recognized by critics for their crazy fanbase of teenage girls. And this stigma is what prevents critics and the general public to give BTS a fair chance to be recognized for their high quality music. And this is not only about boy bands like the Beatles or BTS. It's about everything girls and women like. Star Trek became serious nerd business once men decided the franchise should stop being perceived as light, fluffy, not really legitimate sci-fi that housewives liked. Using computers was considered a female duty until men decided they were more than that. It was a group of women who programmed the first computer. Even the word computer was used to refer to women mathematicians who solved astronomical riddles for male professors, because looking at plates for hours on end was considered boring and a specialized work. So professors turned to women to perform the duties.
And that is a big example, and something that my wife and I always talk about, which is in a marriage, even though I'm the king, I need my queen to be by my side, because she always keeps me in check in order to make these moves. You know what I'm saying? So let's say I'm thinking of doing a new move. I talk to my wife about it. We discuss it. And then it's like we make the move together if we both agree upon it. You know what I'm saying? So I like this analogy, and I like the fact that we're able to see this, because that gives me that perspective of like, look at the amazing things that these women have done in the past years. Like, they literally created these programs, these computers, and then to be honest, I never even knew that. But that just kind of sparked up that moment right there. That's amazing right there.
Among others, beer, writing novels, Star Trek, and computers are now considered things for men because their original association with women was redrawn for audiences of men.
Wow. That's so cool.
Now, when it comes to fandoms, there's always been a certain stigma against female-dominated fandoms, especially the fandoms of good-looking male artists. It's so common for society to call female-dominated fandoms crazy, rabid, and obsessive. However, this doesn't happen as much in male-dominated fandoms, even though we share the exact same characteristics. This graphic by Research BTS shows the characteristics of die-hard fandoms and
so characteristics of diehard fandoms for sports fans is male dominated, boy band fans female, yep. And then sense of community, screaming fans buying collecting merch, intense passion and loyalty, attends one or all live events of the season / tour, emotional over team or idols, very knowledgeable, engaging on social media. Yeah, that's true. But you know what I'm noticing about myself? I think I'm more into the BTS side because I actually like their post on Instagram, or I'll repost, let's say J-Hope doing a dance or something like that to Killing a Girl, or and things like that. So the only time that I've actually reposted something sports was when the Dodgers won the World Series in 2025. Shout outs to V. V's part of the Dodgers now, if you guys didn't know. But yeah.
Compares sports fans with boy band fans. Both sports fans and ARMY share a sense of community. We can recognize each other and form an instant bond because we share a common interest.
We know who's not ARMY, like we can sense it, we can feel it in our bones.
Both fandoms attend one or all live events of the season or tour. When we can't go to one of the events, we watch a live stream version of it and follow the highlights on social media.
That's
when
dope.
we watch them play or perform, we scream from joy and excitement. We are also emotional when our team or group loses or shows vulnerability. Also, both sports fans and ARMY have very particular fan chants dedicated only for our group or team.
Yes.
Both sports fans and ARMY buy and collect merchandise.
Yes.
We dress up for events, we create a community and engage with other fans on social media, we share a sense of loyalty and passion for our team or group, and most importantly, we take them seriously. We respect and admire them as athletes and artists. And just think about any other male-dominated fandom. Comic fans, movie fans, or gamers also share most of these characteristics. So if we are all so familiar, why are ARMYs the only ones being called rabid, obsessive, and crazy? Even when there is a prevalence of violence in sports fandoms that doesn't really exist in female-dominated fandoms like ARMY.
I'm 33.
I'm 34.
I'm 36 years old.
I'm 44 years old.
Almost 48 years old.
I'm 48 years old.
I'm just over 50.
I'm 52. And I'm in my mid-50s.
I'm 56.
I'm 61.
I'm 64.
And I love BTS. And I'm ARMY.
And I'm an ARMY.
I love that. In the comments, please let me know if you're okay with it. Your age, or you could even say how long you've been ARMY. I need to know. Flood the comments, because when I first reacted to BTS, that was one of the biggest things that I saw. You guys were like, let's say, for example, I'm 35 years old. I've been in ARMY for 17 years. Just examples. But those are the things that I was seeing. I'm like, dang, like the age range for ARMY is, out of this world because you can't really put an age range to it. It could literally be anyone, as we could see. It's amazing.
I'm a BTS fan.
And I like BTS.
Hey.
I've gone to bat for BTS a number of times. I was 72, now I'm 73. I'm a 73-year-old man. So what have you done?
I can show you a study after study after study that demonstrate that armies are not a monolith. Army is a diverse space full of people of all ages, genders, sexualities, and races.
That's
and like
dope.
I just said, I can show you all the data right here, but it's simple logic. Nowadays, it's extremely hard for artists, even if they are extremely popular, to sell out stadiums.
That's
Most
facts.
big artists sell out arenas.
Mhm.
However, BTS doesn't only sell out stadiums, but also they create more revenue in one single show than any other artist's entire tours. Harry Styles had to perform 23 times to match a single BTS concert.
Whoa. Whoa. Play that again. Play that one more time. He has to perform 23 times in order to match a single BTS concert. That is crazy. Oh my god.
They create more revenue in one single show than any
Wait, hold on.
sell out stadiums, but also they create
Earned a total of 56.4 million from 623,761. You guys were not lying. I never said you guys were, by the way. I never said you guys were. I'm just saying that seeing these numbers is really impressive because, like Boracity just said, people are not really selling out like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are not looking for that experience because I honestly feel that is because they're not getting a performance. You know, nowadays, there's not really performances being made as much as we've seen in some of the live performances from BTS, where they go, let's say, from this area to this area, they do dress changes, and then they have separate performances, like the one that we just seen. That is a performance. That is something that you're gonna go over there and experience and talk about for possibly the rest of your life. You're not gonna go to a concert where it's just like someone on the mic doing what he does, 30 minutes, and that's it, everyone go home. You're getting what you're paying for, and people know that, so they're willing to spend their money. I love that. I really love
more
that.
revenue in one single show than any other artist's entire tours. Harry Styles had to perform 23 times to match a single BTS concert. Coldplay will have to perform 44 times to make what BTS
44?
made in one night. Other artists are not even
Oh
close.
my
Also,
God.
BTS is the #1 artist in the world when it comes to album sales.
Wait, you're going too fast.
Also,
Oh my goodness. Think about this. Wait. We're using these sound effects for all this because this is a big deal. This is a big deal. Think about the position that they're in. They're #1, top 10. This is above someone like Taylor Swift. Now, she has a cult fan base. Drake, cold with it. The Weeknd. Come on, man. Like, you got some big dogs in this list. What? Hold on.
BTS is the number.
Oh my goodness. Not only are they in first, they're in fourth.
#1 artist in the world when
Oh, wow.
it comes to album sales.
They're first and second and eighth. What?
An ARMY is the fandom with the most charity donations
my
under its
gosh.
name. My point is that there are a lot of people willing to donate for charities as well as pay for albums, merch, flights, hotels.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to be able to splurge like that. I cannot wait to be able to splurge like that, man. Imagine that, taking the whole family on a trip. Because I would love to go see them in Korea. I would love to follow them to, let's say, Europe. You know what I'm saying? Go to the concert and then obviously spend some time there to learn the culture and see what's around there and stuff like that. But that must be a dope feeling. A really, really dope feeling. If you guys have done this before, please let me know. Timestamp it for me. If you guys have traveled to go see a BTS concert somewhere, please let me know where you traveled to. And maybe the year, if you remember. I would want to know. That is so cool.
And tickets for a BTS concert. And these fans cannot be kids. These are adults with a job and an income that let them do all of these things.
Older fans often have more disposable income. That helps them afford the band's merchandise and concert tickets.
And that's true. I'm gonna run this back and I'm gonna let Excellence say what she was gonna say. I don't want to be rude or nothing, but I wanted to stop it there because that is true. What did I do? As soon as I felt like I was welcomed into the army and became part of army, I got a hat, we got tiny tans, we got posters we haven't really had time to, put up, but things are coming. Things are coming. And there's, we got this guy right here that I'm eventually going to frame. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to just frame it and put it somewhere. But it's nice. It's nice. But little by little, I'm becoming one of you guys, officially.
And tickets for a BTS concert. And these fans cannot be kids. These are adults with a job and an income that let them do all of these things.
Older fans often have more disposable income. That helps them afford the band's merchandise and concert tickets and creates an advertising market for the
Adult
products
money.
the band promotes to older consumers, including Samsung phones and Hyundai cars.
This is why you will see that there are not many kids in BTS's concerts. The adults who go there go because they wanted to, not because their kid asked them to go.
You'll see a lady who's like 60 years old, and I'll be like, oh, where's your daughter? She's like, what do you mean? I'm here by myself. Like, it's all walks of life.
I like the fact that there's people like Benny Blanco, like J. Cole, that acknowledge BTS for what they're doing and how, because this technically should not happen. Let's be real. There should not be a fandom where it is literally ranging from this age to this age. Usually it's like little gaps, bam, bam, bam. This is what you're getting because this is the audience that you're going after. BTS has a wide range. It's insane. My daughter, she's 7 years old. She knows their popular songs. She knows a lot of Jungkook songs. She knows a lot of J-Hope songs, especially because she loves Mona Lisa, by the way. That song is her thing. She loves Daydream. Oh, man. She beats... Okay, but anyways. So, I love that. I love that.
Like every nationality, it's 6-year-olds to 60-year-olds.
Another simple way of proving that BTS's fandom is mostly adults is by looking at the associations created by Army professionals. The BTS Army Medical Union is a community of licensed medical professionals and med students dedicated to inform and help other armies in anything related to medicine. There's also the BTS Army Bar Association.
I need to follow these accounts. I'm not that active on X, but I'm going to follow these accounts. I'll do it after. I don't want to waste you guys' time.
Medical professionals and med students dedicated to inform and help other armies in anything related to medicine. There's also the BTS Army Bar Association, form of Army lawyers. The Army Engineers Union, form of Army engineers. Army Computer Science, form of computer science and cybersecurity experts. The Army Academy, form of Army tutors of different courses like science, languages, math, social science, science, computer science, and art, and research BTS, the ones who do research and graphics like this. All of this is a result of a dedicated, grown-up fandom. There are way more armies in their 20s, 30s, and 40s than armies who are under 18. It's also interesting that BTS were able to gain a massive worldwide dedicated fanbase. BTS is huge in basically every single continent, and this is just my opinion coming from a country where we don't speak English, but I can tell that it is so common for us to accept and listen to music in other languages. We don't speak English, but we all know about the Beatles or Michael Jackson.
Facts.
However, it's so rare for countries like the US or the UK to listen to music in other languages.
And that's because of our small minds, man. Even now, I don't know if you guys know or if you guys are aware, but the Super Bowl is gonna have Bad Bunny. Everybody's in a frenzy. Everybody's upset. They're saying, how is he gonna perform when he's not gonna make this in English? Some people have even gone and said that he's not American. But it's like, bro, Puerto Rico is part of the United States. But whatever. If you don't know that, then you don't know that. But crazy because this is exactly the small minds that are out here. They want to play like, they just want to, not saying that anything's wrong with like country music or, you know, the old like Elton John. Nothing's wrong with it. But at some point, it's okay to let other countries, you know, if they're this amazing, like BTS, and they're bringing us all of this amazing content, all of this amazing music, all of this amazing vibes, and all of this warmness that we feel with the words that they say in the songs, why not? Why not? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
They barely accept one song a year in Spanish, when it's so common for the rest of the world to welcome other languages. So I think armies from around the world want to not only celebrate BTS's achievements in our countries, but also a fantastic foreign group like BTS dominating the Western music industry is refreshing and long overdue.
That's the one. That's the one that I was just telling you guys. We're going to run it back. This is the exact moment that the male fandom made noise. And even BTS was like, what is going on? Check this out. Let's go back.
The industry is refreshing and long overdue.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
The weird thing is that BTS already has the approval of men. BTS's fanbase are mostly women, but men are a big part of the fandom. Just like what happened with the Beatles, BTS is getting more and more recognition from male critics and general public. So why are they still not taken seriously? I think it's because critics and the general public, who are also ARMY, follow BTS's steps and don't try to gatekeep BTS as a good group because they say it is. Male ARMYs don't dismiss BTS's female-dominated fandom. They uplift them. Actually, the biggest and most respectable ARMY fanbase is BTS chart data. The account is run by only one person, a male ARMY. Just like him, male ARMYs agree with BTS's message, and it's almost impossible for them to try to gatekeep BTS because that would mean not taking BTS seriously and contradicting their message. So instead of saying that BTS is good because a lot of ARMYs are grown-up men, they say BTS is good because they are good. Their music is good, their performance is good, their lyrics and production are good, their message is good. And anyone can see that. From 25-year-old Bella Poarch,
I went to the BTS concert.
to 45-year-old John Cena.
I seen it so much. John Cena shows BTS so much love all the time. And for that, gotta give him some props. Shout out to Bella Poarch too.
To 45-year-old John Cena.
I got interested in the music, and then I got interested in what the music stood for. They're great performers, but is the message they send, it resonates with the people, man. That's work, and that's purpose, and that's changing the world.
From a 15-year-old girl to a 73-year-old man. I do wonder if someday male critics will convince the general public to give BTS a fair chance. Will BTS someday have the approval of men, like the Beatles, for example? After thinking about it, I personally don't think they will, at least not this way. Because unlike the Beatles, BTS never tried to change their image to attract a bigger male audience. BTS is not ashamed of having a female-dominated fandom. They actually acknowledge it and are proud of it. I also think that BTS faces many unfair disadvantages because they are not only considered a boy band for 15-year-old girls, but also they are not white, they are not from a Western country, they sing mostly in Korean, and they are still considered just K-pop. However, I do believe that there is going to be some kind of change for chapter 2 or 3. I do believe that there is going to be a more mature sound, but I don't think it's going to be because they want to have a bigger male audience than a female audience. They are going to grow as artists because that's what they've been doing for the past 10 years. When they were in school, they wrote songs about the school system and love as a teenager. When they became young adults, they wrote about youth and called it the most beautiful moment in life. When they entered their mid-20s, they wrote about humans' temptations and desires. When they entered their late 20s, they wrote about what it means to be human and exist, basically. When we all experienced a worldwide pandemic, they wrote about living in a pandemic. And I can confidently say that all of these are works that should be critically acclaimed. These are all works that should be taken seriously because they carry big messages that impacted a generation and are a vital part of pop culture. But they are
Wow. That was a lot said right there. And I couldn't pause it because the information she was saying of how, starting from the school system to their 20s, their mid-20s, their 30s, and just the consistency of the way that they told their story, they expressed themselves, and the way that they made their music to cater to everybody. Because I think the biggest point that I'm understanding here is that the relatability that they had when making these songs can touch anybody because simple fact, it's relatable. It's very relatable to every single person. So I really like that. Really like that. The only thing that I would say is not everybody can do this. You have to be a special 7 human beings, 7 of them that are able to do this, because I feel like at some point if someone tries to do it, they just don't have that they don't have that creativeness to continue to, as they're growing up, they're bringing us along for the ride. And people don't tend to do that because then some people get stuck in different ways, or they start following a different path, they lose themselves, and it's just not them. But it seems like with BTS, they really stuck to who they are. They really taught everybody to love themselves and showed it with examples with their music, gave us a storyline. Everything was made perfect. I'm not gonna lie. Whew, that was amazing.
critically acclaimed. These are all works that
It
should be taken seriously because
be.
they carry big messages that impacted a generation and are a vital part of pop culture, but they aren't taken seriously. This is good music that a lot of people are dismissing simply because they don't want to be associated with a 15-year-old fandom.
I gotta say, I'm the type of person that I think I've been doing this since even when I was in high school. If I liked a certain artist, I didn't care what nobody told me. I like that music, I like that music. I know you guys don't want to hear this, but at one point in time, the biggest thing going on out here was Chris Brown. I get it, you guys don't like him, it's all good, but I'm just saying my story. In high school, stay listening to him. Stayed, just supporting and all that stuff. Nowadays, he's cool. But back in the days when you would say you would listen to that, it's like, oh, why are you listening to that? You should be listening to Tupac, which I did. I listened to different kinds of music, but I was always open to listening to different kinds of music. You know what I'm saying? So I understand this because I'm not ashamed to let people know that, yeah, right now, I'm listening to BTS. I'm learning about them. I'm going down the rabbit hole, and I'm enjoying the ride. And I'm ARMY. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really not gonna feel any type of way. It is what it is. I enjoy this community. I enjoy learning about them, and most importantly, I enjoy their music. That's just what it is.
So my conclusion is, grow up. Stop being misogynistic. Yes, there are a lot of armies who are 15-year-old girls, and they are smart, talented, and unashamed of their interests. And it will surprise you a lot how many armies look exactly like you. So don't let your preconceived notions prevent you from listening to BTS. Their diverse fandom comes from BTS's diverse discography. The number one rule with BTS is don't assume. Don't assume it's only pop music. Don't assume they can only dance. Don't assume they only talk about love. Don't assume they don't write their own music. Don't let your assumptions prevent you from listening to great artists and great music.
But it's rare to get to work with living legends. I mean, they are young, but they're still, at this point, living legends.
Whew.
The Beatles.
Think about that. Think about that. These are literally people that are in the industry and are getting those kind of comments, living legends. And I agree. And we said this before, where as soon as we started learning about them and started going down the rabbit hole of seeing what they've done to the industry, how they changed the perspective of people, how their messages has always been positive and uplifting. They go really, really deep into their own feelings to let us understand, you know, what it felt like to be in those dark times, but turn around and look at things positive and come out free. You know what I'm saying? I really, really enjoy these videos. If you guys enjoyed this, please let me know in the comment section below. All I gotta say is love yourself. Number one rule, love yourself. Enjoy your days with family, because it's very important, man. Shout out to you guys. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Peace.